Now, turning to events in Washington, and President Trump has lashed out at his former lawyer a day after a court sentenced Michael Cohen to 3 years in jail. In a series of early morning tweets and again in an interview with Fox News, Mr. Trump said he never instructed Mr. Cohen to break the law and that he counted on him to know what was legal and what wasn't.
Let me tell you, I never directed him to do anything wrong. Whatever he did on his own. He's a lawyer. A lawyer who represents a client is supposed to do the right thing. That's why you pay them a lot of money, et cetera, et cetera. He is a lawyer. He represents a client. I never directed him to do anything incorrect or wrong.
Well, Mr. Cohen pleaded guilty in August to a series of financial crimes and also admitted lying to Congress over a proposed real estate deal in Russia. I'm joined now by Elizabeth Wydra, President of the Constitutional Accountability Center. Elizabeth, thanks for joining me. How strong is the President's defense that he didn't tell Michael Cohen to do anything?
Well, it's not very strong at all. And I think if we look at the prosecutor's memo that was used to justify the 3-year sentence for Michael Cohen, they talk about how there was this repeated pattern, almost a culture that was accepted of lies and criminality between Cohen and Trump world. And simply because the president might not have said, I want you to violate campaign finance laws by paying off these 2 women so they don't tell their stories and make me look bad on the eve of election so I can get into the White House. You know, that doesn't mean he didn't know that it was wrong. It just might mean that they did things that were wrong so often that he didn't have to instruct him this particular time to break the law.
So how much legal jeopardy is he now in?
Well, I think what we've seen from these investigations and the indictments and prosecutions that have come out of them are pieces of a mosaic that are putting a picture together that does not look good for President Trump when it comes to his legal liability. It's, of course, an open question whether a sitting president can be criminally indicted, but I think that's going to be a question that we are going to have to confront sooner rather than later, because you have stated in these court documents clearly from the prosecutors that individual one, who we know to be Donald Trump, directed and coordinated at least these campaign finance felonies for which Michael Cohen was sentenced to prison.
Does any of this matter, though, because President Trump, as a sitting president, by some accounts, can't be indicted?
Well, certainly that is an open question, and I think it's something that we might have to decide in the courts, whether that's constitutional or not. But there also is, of course, the final constitutional backstop of impeachment. And I think everyone agrees that we should wait to see what the actual results of the Mueller investigation lead to. But if there is this clear, undeniable evidence of criminal wrongdoing, and what we've seen thus far, these threads of personal corruption, greed, power-seeking, coming from the Trump world, and in many cases potentially led by Donald Trump and his family himself, it's going to be hard to avoid that question.
Separately, a Russian woman, Maria Butina, has pleaded guilty to conspiring to help Russia interfere with US politics. How significant is that?
It's very significant. We have here the first Russian citizen who has been convicted of a conspiracy to influence the 2016 election to help Donald Trump against his then rival Hillary Clinton. And what we're looking at overall here in all of these investigations are the Russian attempts and potential collusion with the Trump campaign to influence an American democratic election. This is a huge deal. And she is talking with the prosecutors. She's going to continue to cooperate, as frankly is Michael Cohen. He continues to give information about the core Russia-related investigation. And that core Russia issue is collusion about the election.
Elizabeth Wydra, thanks very much for joining me.
Great to be here.